Greetings and salutations, my dear audience. This is Joe St. Egg Benedictus just coming at you with a treasure find at the used bookstore. Actually, several treasures that we're excited about. I want to give a shout out to my pal Mike and to all the visionaries and mystics out there. Thank you for joining me today. Several things I want to do is first ask a very important question that I'd like for you to contemplate about, and that is, why do we bibliophiles love books so much? I mean, why is it when we have all of these books that we want more books? And why is it, especially those of us who specifically like Bibles, have to always buy more Bibles? Today when we were at the used bookstore, my wife and I were shopping, and my wife picked up a book on seashells, and I said, "Don't we already have a book on seashells?" To which she responded, "Don't you have enough Bibles?" And so I thought after that, maybe I should buy her the book on seashells. So what is it about books that we have to constantly buy them? And what is it about our favorite translations, our favorite Bibles, that we just have to constantly be on the search and look out for bindings and things like that that just really just get us going? One of the things that I like is used books specifically because of all the personality that they have. This past week I went to a big box book retailer, and I couldn't find anything. They had a lot of Bibles, but none with the personality of a used Bible. So today, went to my used bookstore, and I found several treasures that have lots of personality. First of all, it was half off of everything in my used bookstore, which means that I picked up some things that I probably wouldn't have picked up if it wasn't half off. And the first thing I came upon is this amazing Revised Standard Version, hardcover, red, as you can see, almost like a pew Bible. And I collect various unique Revised Standard Versions. I'm always on the lookout for Revised Standard Versions. It has the red gilding here, and I came along this one, and I fell in love with this one right away. Why? Because the title is off-centered, as you can see. I just love how this Bible has so much personality, and because of its imperfections. And then on the spine, it doesn't have the translation or the publisher. It has this really awesome cross with the gold imprint there. So just really, really enjoyed finding this Bible. As you can see, it's cardstock paste down. There's a little bit of wear and tear there. It has this beautiful presentation page with the blue calligraphy and gold artwork. It was presented to Sherry on October 5th, 1975 at Philadelphia Presbyterian Church. So I'm assuming this Bible came out probably a little after 1971. This shows the second edition of the New Testament being printed 1971. This is John Knox Press, Richmond, Virginia. So this Bible was again, within a few years of that initial gifting in 1975. So, as you can see, there's the preface. You have the subject index with the table of contents, and the only writing in this Bible that I've seen or wear and tear are these pencil check marks by several books. You can see there are different pencil check marks there. And I'm assuming perhaps those are books that were read or whatnot, but that's really the only writing that I see within the book. It doesn't have any of the fancy calligraphy that the other Revised Standard Version Bibles have, but it does have this nice block lettering, double column with notes on the bottom. Just a very nice, clean look. One of the things that I really appreciated about this used Bible is see how close the top printing is to the edge, and on the inside leaves lots of room here. It has the book starting on the same page as the conclusion of the previous book, but as you get into other books you can see that there's a little bit more room. So this is a very imperfectly printed Bible, and for that I love it. Just love the personality, you know. Again, I looked at all those Bibles at the big box bookstore this past week, and I could not find one that caught my attention that I would want to own or spend money on. And go to the used bookstore, and for half the price of what it was listed for $1, got it for 50 cents. I just get a beautiful Bible for just chock full of personality. And whenever you buy a book at a used bookstore, you never know what you're going to find. This one came with a pretty awesome bookmark with a little teddy bear on it from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And you can see it's dated 1998. So whoever used this last used it in 1998 with this bookmark, with the nice gold thread there. And you know, again, when you buy a treasure like this at the used bookstore and it's full of personality, full of character, it tells a story of the previous owner and just of its age and probably how many people have flipped through the pages, you get this awesome treasure with that really cool, corny teddy bear. Just love it. Look at that off-center. Can't beat that for 50 cents. Next book I bought was a book on prayer by George Buttrick. George Buttrick, no Snickers please, was a professor of homiletics at the Union Theological Seminary in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, I believe. And this book is imprinted to Jean from Buck, maybe? Montclair Academy, commencement, 1942. Again, you get the used book. It was half off of $1 for 50 cents. Second owner is Dan Emerson Jr., but it tells a story. So much personality. I know it's not a Bible, but I do collect books on prayer. Again, not every book on prayer, just books with personality. And I haven't gotten the chance to read the foreword yet to see what the context was for the writing of this book. Again, George Buttrick writes a lot on preaching, so for him to write on prayer must be very interesting. Prayer in the world, prayer and personality, and the way of prayer. The way of private prayer, corporate prayer. So George Buttrick, being kind of a liturgist, a guy who's intentional about worship and preaching, just really excited to jump into this book. You can see it's red. There are underlinings throughout. And it is a bit of a thick book, but I hope that it'll make a good lesson in prayer and perhaps get some good Buttrick stories that will reinforce my preaching. It has this, you see here, at the beginning of the chapter, it has the chapter in Roman numerals in this nice line. It's just a very nice layout. It's kind of a, like I said, a hefty book. The signature's kind of rough on the edges. So much personality. Can't find that at a used book, at a new bookstore. And then the other treasure I got, another treasure I got was this beautiful New International Version, NIV. Now, the reason why I went to the big box bookstore this past week is because I wanted an NIV or an NRSV that was compact to replace primarily an NIV that I have from an NIV study Bible I've had since 1996 that is falling apart on me. I plan to do a long-term review on that NIV from Zondervan, so I will do it in the next month or so, maybe 6 weeks. But I was looking for a new NIV to replace that one, and I came across this today again. It is green, bonded leather. You can't really tell it's green, but it is green. Bonded leather. There's the ISBN number there. And the gilding is really, really pretty. Just in really great shape. So looked at the gold gilding there. Beautiful. Looked at the cover, beautiful. It has a little bend here. That's about the only fault I can find. It has this amazing green ribbon just to match the cover. When you look at it, it looks like something out of the something that's really Celtic-like. It has also the green ribbon there. Not the ribbon, but the I forget what that's called, but it's the green end piece there. Just in really amazing shape, perfect size for me, something that I want on the go. Sometimes I need to grab a Bible if I'm going to a Bible study or going to minister to somebody and I need something lightweight. This is going to be the Bible that I grab. So as we open it up, we see that we have the typical, well, let's see, before we get into that, cardstock, marble lining, paste down lining. Again, this is typical, these presentation pages, multicolored. Typical for Zondervan NIVs. I have the same exact kind of pages in my study Bible. Again, that one's from 1996. It was $1, but I got it for 50 cents. Can't beat that with a stick. Nothing is filled out, so I don't know where this comes from, this particular Bible, but just in really good condition. Okay, and you kind of get through the cover page, and the copyright here is 1996. Third printing. It has a bit of a crease here. That's about the only fault that I found with it. Table of contents. You get this funny 1990s font that reminds me of the old Apple computers that my youth pastor used to use in the 90s. He used to have those funny fonts on there, unlike the PCs that we used. And then you have, of course, just a straight up Old Testament. Again, the funny font, double column, notes in the bottom, your typical kind of NIV fare. When you look, it's just nice and clean, very easy to read. It is probably a 9-point font, 9.5-point font, but just very easy to read. It has these nice lines at the top that give you kind of a, it just frames the eye to the text, notes in the bottom. You have the references on the side here and the page numbers in the middle. So very easy to find whatever you're looking for, and just very, you can flip through it quick, find whatever you need. Beautiful kind of layout. It has the book following the previous book. And as most NIVs during this time, you have letters in red letter edition. A lot of people don't like the red letter edition, but in the NIV I am used to it, only in the NIV, not any other translation would I get the red letter edition, unless it was just something that I picked up along the way. But the red letter edition in the NIV is something I'm used to, something that's familiar to me, and something that makes me feel at home as I read the Gospels. Just really like it, nice clean look. This particular edition does have at the end a concordance, as you can see. Tables of weights and measures. Concordance, the NIV concordance, kind of an abbreviated edition. But after the concordance, it also has this topical concordance. It has promises from the Bible. For instance, if you want to look up God's promise of forgiveness, or God's promise of blessing, or God's promise when you feel guilty or feel dejected, it gives you references. So that's the promises, and also gives you a topical concordance for perspectives from the Bible. What to read when you're seeking God's direction, or you are tempted, or you have been cheated. So pretty cool topical concordance. I really like it. Very convenient. Again, if I grab this Bible on the go to minister to someone or run to a Bible study, I can always turn to these concordances if I'm helping somebody with a specific issue. Of course, you have these Zondervan maps, very familiar if you're a Zondervan NIV or Zondervan person. And then, of course, at the end here, again, the marble paste down. Just a wonderful edition, bonded leather, good size, great find, very easy to carry and read, very easy to preach out of if you have to preach on the fly. Very cool, very nice find for 50 cents. So that really has it. That really does it. Just again, why do we keep buying Bibles? For me, the hunt is just as important as the find. You get all of these beautiful Bibles with personality. Look at that off-center title, just an amazing, amazing book. Both of these are Bibles I can just grab on the go if I want an RSV or an NIV, just something I can grab. Good condition Bibles that have lots of personality. Then I also managed for 50 cents to pick up the Sphere, because you need a psychological thriller every once in a while. Make sure you like and subscribe and check in. I'll do that NIV Study Bible long-term review somewhere down the road. Until then, stay tuned.